Welcome to today's session of Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. This session is conducted with the support of Water Resources Council of the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and in collaboration with W4W Foundation and media partner Counterview. My name is Mansi Bal Bhargav and I'm currently holding the position of National President of the Wiki Water Resource Council and also the Founder Director of W4W Foundation. I'm the host of this session today. We are glad to start the conversation, namely Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, which we co-equally refer as Blue Lips. The conversation is aimed to share the worries and the wisdom by the woman, for the woman, of the woman in the water sector. In here, we hope to learn about the water endeavors of the woman in a regular disciplined manner like a masterclass. And I'm super delighted because today in this session, we are here to listen and know more about the water journey of Hamnah Fayyaz, Priyanka Kuhar, Meghna Chakravarti, and Sayeda Rahimi, the members of South Asia Young Women in Water. We already had the session 1 with them. So girls, welcome to the Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. We are excited to have you in our session and eager to hear and learn more about your understanding of water and your water endeavors, which you are currently into. So super excited. Are you all set?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Let me just invite each one of you for a brief introduction of yourself, because I know you are all representing different parts of Asia. So shall we start with Hamnah and then Priyanka, Meghna and Sayeda? Over to you, Hamnah. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Hamnah Fayyaz. I'm originally from Pakistan and I've recently completed my master's in environmental engineering, focusing more on integrated water resource management and climate change adaptation from Agro-Paris Tech in Paris, France. And I am a co-founder of South Asia Young Women in Water. Thank you for having me, Mansi. And I'm super excited to have this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's move to Priyanka.
Hello everyone. So my name is Priyanka Kuhar. I'm from India. I completed my master's in public policy from University of Edinburgh this March. I have extensive experience in water and sanitation area in the realm of public policy implementation, formulation, foundational to advanced experience in the development of advocacy material and communication plans, skill development, and a sincere person derived towards working in the water sector. So from the start of my professional journey, I have worked upon Clean India Mission, Swachh Sarvekhan, Clean India Mission 2.0, kitchen gardening, and midday meal schemes in India.
Wonderful. So Meghna, over to you. Thanks, Priyanka.
Hi, my name is Meghna, and I also am from India. I studied my master's from Teddy University, which now is known as the Teddy School of Advanced Sciences. And I've been working in the water sector for the past 8 years now. I'm a co-founder at the South Asia Young Women in Water. And that's all about me. Thank you so much, Mansi, for having us and giving us.
Thanks, Meghna. Wonderful. We are going to discuss more, but let's first get Sayeda Rahimi. Sayeda, over to you.
Hello, everyone, and thanks, Mansi, for having me today. I am Sayeda Rahimi from Afghanistan. I currently live in Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan. So I have studied international relations in Pakistan, and then before the Taliban takeover, I returned to Afghanistan, and I started doing a job as a researcher and after the Taliban takeover. And before the Taliban takeover, I worked with different women organization in Kabul. So I am also a member of South Asian young women in water since in the past 6 months, and one of the thing that Afghan women have not been able to join these sessions or these platforms. So I plan and with the team to raise this issue and to work on Afghanistan and all other South Asian countries, especially Afghanistan, as it's it has attracted lesser attention than the neighboring countries, including Pakistan and its regional countries like India, Bangladesh, and others. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Sayeda, and really looking forward to learning more about each one of your journey. So I'm going to start with you again, Sayeda. If you may take that question, how did you realize that water is going to be your endeavor and you would like to dedicate your life to this wonderful sector and of course challenging sector as well? That applies to, the question applies to all of you. So Sayeda, I'm going reverse, so you are first now. How did you realize you would like to do water as your career opportunity?
Actually, in today's Afghanistan, I have not been able to secure a position as a women water. But in the future, I plan to do so, and I'm planning to also help other and to guide other Afghan women to do so. As most of us know that in today's Afghanistan, because of their new regime, women have been barred from doing jobs, including both in government and NGOs, and also from forming their own organizations or institutions in any sector. So so far, I have been able to join South Asian young women in water, and as my team is very supportive, all of them are paying too much attention to this issue. So with their support and with the people we are communicating, and with the support of Afghan women inside Afghanistan, I hope we can collectively one day make Afghanistan a place for women water as well. And this is one of my biggest goal and also wish. So I hope I can do that.
Wonderful. I mean, I can say just one word here, Amen. So Meghna, over to you. Where did you, and when did you realize you belong to this sector?
I think I mentioned this last time as well. I realized it from a very small age because I literally grew up in a area where water was a scarce resource and a valuable one. And it just so happened that I also belong to a region where water is in abundance. So I had the fortune to observe both these regions from a very young age, and I used to see the difference of approach towards water, and how where the water is scarce, people are more respectful and more aware of how water should be used. And this is I'm talking about like literally a couple of decades back, where so much of awareness and education was not there, but it was just the lack of resource that sort of made people aware that they need to conserve it. But then another picture I also saw where the resource was in abundance, And because my maternal side and my extended paternal side of family, they live in Bengal region, and water was never a problem there. It used to not be a problem there. And I have seen the stark contrast of when it comes to regarding usage of water. So that was when I realized I would want to take it up. I would want to do something for this particular resource. And another thing that actually added to that memory was, which was like a very poignant memory for me, because I used to watch my mom go like literally walk half a kilometer to get us water from a hand pump, which was placed around 500 meters from where we used to stay. So that was like that stayed in my mind and heart for a long time. And I think that basically formed the basis of this entire network, because I have always seen that when it comes to scarcity of resources, which, particularly when we talk about climate change, we are seeing that resources are getting more and more in dearth. The first impact is always on women. And I have been aware of this from like a very small age. I exactly did not know what is happening, but sort of like there was some sort of awareness in me. So that was the reason that I was very sure this is what I wanted to do. So I studied environmental studies and resource management in TERI, but I took up a lot of water related subject because I knew this is where I belong. And
Very good.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Priyanka.
So I come from a state called Haryana in India, and as is the case with other girls, during all my childhood, I saw women waking up early in the morning from my house and neighborhood, covering a large distance to fetch water. As I grew older, there was technological advancement, and who could afford, had a water pumping motor installed in their houses and at farmlands. Uh, with this begins a reckless and mindless use of underground water. I would witness major water wastage daily, day in and day out. As a result, currently, if we speak, Haryana is water deficit in surface and groundwater both. The deficit in water balance is increased by 311% from 2004 to 2017. Now coming back to my journey in water, I did a State Bank of India fellowship in the year 2015, and that was the time I started working in the water sector. I conceptualized and executed an entire project single-handedly on wastewater management at community level, comprising of 21 villages in Karnataka, India. My project, Environment Protection and Nutrition Security, was focused on driving community towards mindful use of water and making use of their kitchen water for kitchen gardening activities in the open spaces in their household. Because I saw in the villages in Karnataka, they have open spaces in their own houses only. So the journey started from there, and in my last work profile, I formulated the first information, education, communication policy on urban sanitation and fecal sludge management for the state of Madhya Pradesh.
Wow.
During my master's in public policy course, I did a Picha Kucha presentation for the community for the local people of Erfurt on how water stress is impacting women in India. I also submitted some of my papers on water and sanitation topics in India, and driven by all these experiences as a professional and as a student, I submitted my master's thesis on utilization and water management in India, which focused on the challenges, opportunities, and the transformative potential that technology can address in the water sector. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, Hamna, when did you realize, or how did you realize you belong to this sector?
I think being a South Asian, we can all agree that water and South Asians, we go hand in hand, we belong together. So yeah, like everyone else here, it started when I was a child. Karachi is actually the most largest city of Pakistan, and in the world it's actually the 12th largest city. And I come from Karachi, and it has like 20 million inhabitants. And in my childhood, Karachi was a very water dense. I mean, we did not have any water related issues, water scarcity problems in Karachi, but like later in the past few decades, Karachi has been seeing a lot of water scarcity problems. And there are less monsoon rainfalls, climate change, of course, and so the city heavily is reliant on underground water. So that was kind of it formed a basis for me, because I practically saw the impact of climate change in my city, and so that kind of formed a basis for me to pursue my career in this direction. And then I came here to Paris to study my master's, and then I got an amazing opportunity to do an internship at Global Water Partnership in Sweden, which kind of formed, it was a very keystone in my journey in the sector. So yeah, I did my internship at Global Water Partnership. I did my thesis on integrated water resource management and climate change adaptation. I mean, how integrated water resource management supports climate change adaptation, if at all it does. So yeah, that kind of set the tone for me. And then, yeah, I met these amazing women at World Water Week last year. And we decided that, I mean, it was our mutual agreement that and mutual I don't know, understanding for the fact that South Asia has such low representation on a global scale. When you talk about water, you don't really see many South Asian organizations working, or like maybe you will see it in India specifically working for Indian people. Maybe you will see some in Pakistan specifically for the country. On country basis, you will see these organizations, but on a regional level, as South Asia as a continent, you won't see it. So we kind of felt it very much at Global Water last year in Global World Water Week, sorry. And we were like, we should do something about that. And so it was a collective effort, and we came together to form South Asia Young Women in Water. And yeah, so now I'm very heavily invested in it.
Very good. And I'm sure it's going to walk long miles because, as you rightly mentioned, there's a huge gap. For that matter, water sector professionals already is a minority group, and we need to increase the clan. And in there, even further, the minority is of the women, and even further, the minority is of the youth. So you have long way to take it further. I'm sure it is going to move a long way. And in that context, I pose my next question, and we may start with you, Hamna, and so rest of the people can start thinking about their responses and keeping it very brief and precise, because we talk about the sector, and we also talk about being women in the sector. And then I will add the point of being leader of the sector, whether it is young leader or seasoned leader. There are serious challenges, and there is a serious gap of presence and participation of women leadership in the sector. What is, in your opinion, the reason of such, I will say it's more invisible, even though they are present in large numbers, yet their work is not that acknowledged and appreciated. So what is your opinion on this matter? I mean, how do you think why do you think we are so less, and how do you think we can improve this situation?
Okay, so I actually have a very statistical answer for you, Mansi, for this question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because we initially, when we started as a South Asia Young Women in Water, we conducted a survey. The South Asian region, which was mostly, filled by women, but also men too. So we conducted this survey to just, get us started and get to know our audience and see what the water professionals in the South Asian region thought about the current scenario of the water sector, and how we could, help in that regard. So we conducted this survey, and the results were actually very much what we were hoping, but also what we were hoping was very disappointing too. So yeah, we asked our fellow professionals if they were satisfied with the available resources, or if research and data available on the participation of women, and we expected them to answer and yes, lo and behold, they did answer that there was a significant gap to fill when it comes to resources and data available on women participation in the South Asian region. But more than that, we also asked them what they thought were the significant barriers to young women's participation in South Asia. And most participants thought that yes, economic barriers are a major reason for this lack. There is, I think, a lack of education problem too, at least in Pakistan. But overall in the region too, then there is gender discrimination in the region, which is still a major issue, and we need to work a lot on that. And then for women, I would say there was a severe lack of women role models also. It was one of the very common reasons, because we
Very
don't
rightly put.
of women role models to being working in this field and in this sector. So those were some of the common reasons that we found were hindering what kind of barriers to young women's participation in the water sector.
Wonderful. So we are trying to cope up with the woman role model situation, and we are really trying to dig and fish, I say usually. That there are not a lot of women. It's just that the documentation and dissemination of their work is not substantial. And
Exactly.
that is one of the tasks which we have taken up through Monday Munching and Musing, and also we are writing about women's work. So wonderful. So Priyanka, would you like to go on this question?
Yes. So, according to World Bank, the employment of women at water management utilities, currently stands up to only 18%, and women faces lots of yes, women faces lots of barriers in entering water sector. Firstly, the lack of trainings, and even despite trainings, water-related work is deemed as a man's arena. It is important to motivate them, and especially the ones working at the grassroots level, in an effort to promote women's leadership in water governance. In India, Ministry of Jal Shakti introduced the initiative Women Water Champions under its goal water programs, and in that program 41 women contributing at the grassroots level are being recognized for their committed efforts in the water sector. Nevertheless, there is absence of women at the decision-making table. So what I think is that government, private entities, and organizations needs to come together, creating a support system promoting women's involvement. And this can only be done by addressing the biases restricting women's progress and providing an equitable opportunities for the women in water management field, because it is critical for women to assume a crucial position in water resource management, and especially in water technology projects in the leadership position I'm talking about. Because of inadequate literacy, education, and lack of information, we have very few women at the higher positions in general. Because if I ask you guys, how many women do we see in the field of STEM today? How many women do we see building and teaching for technology? Marriott Verhoff Cohen, who is I'm forgetting about her, who is the president of Women for Water Partnership since 2014. In her blog in 2023, last year, she highlighted that women make up only 17% of the workforce. And she also argued that in order to bridge this gap and strive for sustainable development goal number 6, we must increase technical education around water and sanitation and boost financial resources to increase accessibility of jobs within water sector.
Wonderful. So let me come to Hamna. No, I think discussed with you, but Meghna, what is your take on the shortage, I will say, of leadership in the water sector? First, presence and participation, and then leadership being a pyramidal situation. Of course, the chances of women rising that ladder becomes slimmer. What's your take on your experience?
To be honest, ma'am, like Hamna has rightfully mentioned, that we do not have sufficient role models. Even the leaders that we have, the women leaders in the water sector that we have, in my experience, what I have noticed is that even when they get the kind of platforms where they can push for this agenda, they mostly talk about their achievements and their work, and they are not pushing for youth representation from this.
Others' achievements, others' work. That is exactly what we are doing at Monday.
So, yeah, so we are just a bunch of youngers, ma'am, and we really do not have the kind of approach and we do not have the kind of contacts, but these leaders, they do. So if they say something on the esteemed platforms that they are often invited to, people will listen to them, but they are mostly talking about what they have achieved and what they have worked. So I think at some point we have been failed by our senior leadership themselves. And like Priyanka has mentioned, that water has always been considered as a man's sector, which is like very weird because, you know, household water management stays with women. But when it comes to managing water of a city or a country, it's always considered that, oh, the man can do better. So, you know, we as women have a lot to do in this to break the stereotypes and the mindset. And I think for the past so many years, the concentrated effort that should have been made has not been made. But yes, I feel like brighter days are ahead because like how Hamnah has mentioned, that we got together on a regional basis and we realized that there is so many things common among us. And we do not have a regional network, which is like so weird because water being something in South Asia, most of the major river basins are transboundary in nature. So we should have something of this sort. So then we decided to act on it. So I feel things will get better. But yes, I think the kind of support we expect from our senior leaders and senior researchers who have been in this sector for so many years, it's not sufficient. And I would like to take this platform as an opportunity to maybe request all the senior leadership to think about it and maybe promote youth involvement, not just for aesthetics and for numbers, but actual for proper leadership and decision-making positions. Because at the end of the day, water is a future resource and we should have a say in it. And maybe, you know, you should advocate for that.
Absolutely. And I think very well said, because what took us 20 years to arrive to a situation where we can talk about water on a public platform, if we rightfully mentor the younger generation, it may be reduced, you know. So then the presence and participation of more women will be more evident, and more the presence and participation, the more possibility of leaders to rise, you know, because leadership is a gender neutral or gender blind situation. But unless and until we have more in the fraternity, we cannot expect more women leaders to be there. So let me just go to Sayeda and ask her ideas about the participation and presence of women as well as women leadership in the water sector from your region.
Thank you for the question. As Meghna, Priyanka, and Hamnah talked about several issues that water women face, but including these, the issues that they face in Afghanistan, the situation is somehow different from other parts of the region or the world. Maybe before the 3 years ago, or during the 20 years of I don't say the US presence, but I can say when women had the freedom to have a say or to play a role in the society, on that time women had to some extent they were able to work in a water sector, or to speak about water, or there were some organizations and institutions or some individuals from other countries who are coming to Afghanistan and working with the young generation and we're trying to empower both men and women in Afghanistan in the water sector. But today, what I see, I have been, trying a lot. The team members also know that when we are organizing something, we also need somebody from our countries. However, they have been able to find somebody to speak or who are working in this sector. But I myself have not been able to find Afghan women inside Afghanistan who should be working in this sector. And today in Afghanistan, we don't have women in the government. We have, but not in, leadership role or, those who make decisions or those who should have a say. We don't have them in the government. And in Afghanistan, only 6% of workforce are female. So it means most of Afghan women are jobless. They are affected by lack of water, by drought, but they can't work, they can't study. And the opportunity has also been taken from them by other countries as well. We had in the past, other countries were providing scholarships. They were assisting women. They were, inviting them to participate in different events. But today we don't have these things. So when we are speaking about Afghanistan, we should, it's not about me only. Because I'm working in this sector. I have started my fight, but it's also my message is for the women who are for the foreigner women who are working in this sector, is to raise this issue outside Afghanistan, because Afghan women are not able to do this because they even can't can't raise this issue to the government. They can't share this issue. They don't have any channel to do this. They have not been provided with this opportunity to do so. So that's why we need to work, from the very start on Afghanistan's situation, especially about women. As I have seen many women also, in my neighborhood and in the provinces, that they have been affected a lot. They have been even affected by diseases that caused by lack of water, like in the recent flash floods in Afghanistan.
Yes.
In one province, 300 water sources have been destroyed. So it means one province, there may be even 1 million, or there may be 5 million people living in that province. They don't have water, and it is a big issue, and we need to include women in these things. And my journey should I say, to water sector has been so far, it has been smooth. But if, for example, we try to interfere in some cases in Afghanistan, then we might not have that capability. We might not be given the right to do so. So this is why I think we need more attention to be paid in this sector, and especially women's role. And about the Afghan women leadership in water, I can say that most of women, left Afghanistan after the Taliban takeover. They are no more in Afghanistan. Even if they were in Afghanistan, or they are present on LinkedIn or Twitter or on social media, they are, I think they are no more concerned about Afghanistan. If they are, they might not be very serious. So I think we need to work from the very beginning. And I think the leaders, the women leaders, I think everybody in my team are good leaders in this part, and they are, however, we are so young, and we might need guides, and we might need some women, experienced women to work with us. But despite that, I think the women outside Afghanistan, like Pakistan, from Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, they can work together to help Afghan women. Thank you.
Wonderful. Very nicely put. And I think I'll pick a very special line from it. Just like the water flows between these regions, we also have to ensure that the knowledge flows between these regions, and that too, especially through the women leaders and all leaders. For me, leader is, as I mentioned, a genderless situation. But if there are more women, we have more presence. It is simply put in that way. I'm going to play a quick time game because I really want to go through all the questions I have. So I'm going to pose you a question on leadership, because when we talk about leadership, we have certain imagination of leadership, certain attributes of leadership, right? Certain skills we would like to look up to on a leader, So it is going to be a time problem. You may get maximum 4 words to really tell me what do you seek in a leader, because then you also know that yes, these are the skills or attributes that make a leader a good leader, because we also have to make sure here we are talking about leadership, which is a complex situation than being a boss of some issue or some project or some organization, because water leadership is as complex as the water as a complex ecosystem. So we start with Hamna. Are you fine starting with you, or yeah? So I give you maximum of 4 words, but you can stick to 1, 2, 3, 4. Something that defines leadership for you in nutshell.
Okay, in a nutshell, I would say there are 3 words that for me are the essence of a leader. Number 1 is empathetic. Number 2 is inclusive. And number 3 is someone with a vision. So
very good. You stick to 3 words, and I'm sure these are not in an order, but it has to be encompassing these 3 attributes of a good leader. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that these 3 traits or qualities define women so good that these are what women are made
Mother Earth. It's Mother Earth, and I can tell for India, it's Mother India.
Exactly. Exactly. So these are the qualities that represent women so well. And so if we gave women more power and more capable ability and more inclusion in these leadership positions, then we will see a lot more inclusivity in the sector.
In some another session, I'm going to talk to you, Hamna, on a very rigorous way. Who is going to give us? Let us have it in another discussion when we discuss water, Wednesdays for water. Maybe that's a good platform to raise this point, that who is going to give this to women? I mean, is women waiting for somebody to give it, or they have to take it, take charge of it, So let's go to Priyanka, your key attributes or skills that you look up to in a leader.
Okay, so what I look up to in a person is their thought process, because I work extensively at ground level. So how they are thinking and how much they're understanding the problem of the beneficiary, their understanding and the conviction in themselves, and also the courage to take the ownership.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I think that's more of a bravery, and I think it's extremely important to have this attribute. Okay, Meghna.
Well, for me, a leader is somebody who is a team player and who thinks about everybody. And like Priyanka has said, that most of the time it just so happens that once people reach the top, they forget where they started from. So I would want my leader to have a good memory of where
Not
they
only
reached belong.
institutional memory, but individual memory.
Exactly. Of
Both
where
are
they reach
required.
belong and what they have seen. And of course, I would want my leader to have the vision of understanding and I would say the understanding of actually that, the leadership is not like a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
This is something which is like heavily lacking in a lot of our leaders, that they feel that, oh, I am the champion and that's it. But that is not it. You have to establish a legacy. So they should be aware of that.
Absolutely. So that is what I was topping it up with, institutional memory, apart from one's own background memory. And I think humility wrapped up in there. So thank you. We are going to have a comprehensive understanding of leadership once I hear all of you. So Sayeda, good leadership skills that you would like to look up to in a leader?
You know, in my country, it's really difficult to say what should a leader have to be a leader, to be called a leader. We have many leaders, but what I have not seen in leaders in Afghanistan is persistency. They have been leading a team, or or they had ambition for a very short time, and then
Short-lived memory.
when they achieved their personal goals, they left and they also uh, somehow destroyed others in this action. And the other adjective that I want that a leader should have is honesty. When a leader is honest, and when a leader is really thinking about the team, about the people, and even about the family, then they have they can decide better. They can come out of their own desires and think collectively about everyone. And the third thing, which Priyanka has also mentioned, is patience. Our leaders doesn't lack patience. They just get out of what they are doing very soon, and they think that they won't be able to achieve what they want. So these were the three things that I think leaders should have, and these are the three things that I didn't see in leaders in my country. So that's why I selected these 3 points.
So you have more attributes also, which is gathered from all the friends. So you can actually have a bouquet of attributes to look up to leader. And probably that also sets the foundation to really start talking about mentoring leadership among the youth. And I was mentioning just in the previous round, what took us 20 years to arrive to a situation in my age generation to really be able to get space to speak about what matters as women. I really hope, and that is the reason why we are having these conversations, that in your generation, at least you reduce this gap of, time gap. And you really bring forth the real issues. I mean, water is a genderless issue. Water crisis is genderless, ageless. Everybody gets suffered. But I think women and children get disproportionately vulnerable in this whole matter. So that is where we have to take things more seriously. And importantly, when we know that the decisions are made by men, we have to talk about more women taking charge, or more women. I say more power to women. I usually do not use the word empowerment, but if we work on women, we will arrive a situation in a society where we have equal partnership in decision making, and also equal partnership in bearing the pain of water crisis, which is right now skewed to large extent. So let me take this next round of question to all of you about the role of platforms and networks. And you have set up your own little, endeavor collectively. And I really wish that it grows many folds, much faster than when we started the Water Resource Council. And I just wish to understand what made you, of course, establish it, but you already mentioned about it, but what made you realize the role of networks and platforms? So you have spoken about, a South Asian woman in water, young woman in water. That also is a little bit important, young woman in water. But how did you realize that councils, platforms, associations are important for, talking about this sector or taking responsibility of solving problems of this sector? We go reverse and requesting all of you to be as brief as possible, because then we can go to the last round of questions. Sayeda, we start with you again. And maybe you can all also talk about if you are a member of other platforms, because that also increases knowledge about other existing platforms. Go ahead.
So we, I as an Afghan woman, I joined this South Asian young women in December, and before joining this platform, I was searching for something like this inside Afghanistan, and I even started my own platform, Afghan Youth to Progress, but then the regime in Afghanistan announced that women cannot lead any organization or any platform. So then I decided to, not work anymore that part. So after I was invited to join South Asian Young Women and work in water sector, I was so delighted, and it was like a miracle to me, because I didn't have this opportunity to raise what Afghan women were facing before. So this was one of the benefits of the networking and contacts that helped us can know each other and get information about somewhere that women were facing issues like various issues like in Afghanistan. And currently, as in Kabul and other provinces, there are many networks, international organizations and also national organizations. But I don't believe they are working in water sector really, effective as we could, as water networks do so. And after the Taliban takeover, many people left Afghanistan, and including the people who flee Afghanistan, they also took their platforms, their networks, everything. Today, it's really difficult to get connected to the people outside Afghanistan. For me, for example, I cannot work openly because it's illegal in Afghanistan to work for NGOs or some international organizations, unless you work in education sector. And education sector for women is it's open from first to sixth grade for Afghan girls, and for women's job. It is only possible to work in health sector and in education sector, and some NGO international organization like the UN has got the permission to, to keep their employees, female staff. So these networks that we are building, trans-boundary networks like SAYWiW, these networks can be very effective in such kind of situation like we are facing today in Afghanistan. For example, now I'm able to talk with you from, I'm able to even talk to the women in Europe and in the United States and in, with neighboring countries and even with women in South Asia through this network. So I think it's very effective, and I suggest that as many networks are absent now in Afghanistan, we need to, bring some of them, and we need to invite women, and even we need to, share this with the government to allow women to work in this sector. And these networks are the can play a very crucial role in this part, and it can be very helpful. So far, I'm very delighted, and I am heard through these networks. If they were not there, I could not say anything.
Yes,
so,
I think that's a huge, requirement of a network, that you can hear and you can be heard.
Yes, and that's why I think it's really crucial, and it plays a very vital role.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sayeda. We go to Meghna. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sayeda. I am a little bit overwhelmed right now.
Brave girl, huh? She's really brave.
Yeah. So yes. So talking about networks, when we decided to establish a network ourselves, I had like very recently joined the World Youth Parliament for Water, and I was looking for like an India chapter or something, but there was not any. And then during World Water Week only, when we realized that, the representation, I mean, from India, there was still representation. From Pakistan, there were none, like not a single session. So Hamnah and Tabir were like very frustrated about it, because nobody was even talking about it. That, we have such poor representation from South Asia, given that, we hold like a large chunk of population. Our demography is mostly, when we talk about the median demography, it's mostly youngster based. And there is literally not even 10 young people from South Asian, and like nobody was talking about it. So it's like how Sayeda mentioned, that until or unless there is a face, people conveniently forget about it. So we decided that given, it's not economically feasible for all of us to, attend everything all the time. So that's the reason that we, like Hamnah is in Paris, Tabir is in Sweden. We are spread across regions just so that we can go to conferences and make people realize that, oh, you don't have South Asian representation, by the way. Like literally that was our agenda.
Become the voice and face.
Exactly. People talk about, oh, global South this, global South that. And especially when they talk about women in South Asia, it's always women are perceived as the victims. But, there is also a big chunk of women, young women from South Asia, who are coming up with innovations, who are coming up with groundbreaking research. And we are not getting acknowledged for that. We are still seen as the, of course, I'm not denying that there are victims. Of course, there are a lot of victims, and women are the first, like how you said, when it comes to vulnerability, women are the most vulnerable community. I say, but then we are also the ones who are innovating things. We are also the ones.
We also have the solutions, actually.
Exactly. And you are not giving us a platform to talk about it. And you are conveniently forgetting. I mean, I recently was at the World Water Forum, and I was like, I did not meet even 10 people from the South Asia region. I'm not even talking about India. The entire region, I did not meet about even 10 people. And Bali is like so close. Like everybody who gets married goes to Bali. Like it's that close. So it's not like, I don't understand what is it that it's the lack of, they don't like, this lack of willingness, or what exactly is it? Because there were people traveling all the way from Africa. There was a setup from Senegal, and there was nothing from South Asia. So I was kind of very disappointed. And I'm glad that we as a network are there to talk about it. And also, I would like to bring to your notice that we are perhaps the only network which, we are like the only network in the world we are dedicated for young women in water. So we decided to
aware
stay
of
in
that.
South Asia because we are from South Asia. So, and then one another thing which happened during World Water Week was that, ma'am, I attended one session where somebody was talking about some project in Tamil Nadu. And of course, nobody from the presenter, none of them were from South Asia. And from the audience also, there was nobody from South Asia. So of course, you can say whatever you want, right? Because there is nobody to check it. So I kind of like asked them that which villages are you carrying? They could not tell me the name of the villages they were carrying out the project. They have the data, they have everything, statistics, this, that. They could not tell me the name of the villages. So that kind of like clicked me that, this is the source of spreading misinformation actually, because there is nobody to actually censor you. Because the panel that is speaking has no one from, and I'm pretty sure none of them ever visited the projects that they're talking about. And nobody from the audience also was there to, ask them questions that, okay, what did you do this? Or, this happens in Tamil Nadu, what have you done about it? So it's so, the lack of representation is actually sort of, it leads to a lot of, we would say a lot of wrong practices and bad practices. And in Global South, we are anyway suffering due to bad management and bad decisions regarding water management. So let us not, advocate that any further. And we wanted to do something about it. And that's the reason we set up a network. And then we realized that a lot of practices which happen in India are happening in Bangladesh also, are happening in Pakistan also, and nobody's talking about it. So we hope that we are able to prove our mettle going ahead, and we are able to do the most important thing right now for us is to talk about certain things which are wrong. And like I said, that nobody's talking about it. So, and I think numbers and unity sometimes give us strength to talk about some very, very foundational wrongdoings.
Yes.
And I think being a group of women has given us that strength sooner, because sometimes I say that being South Asian women, we really have nothing to lose. We have fought at every level.
I say very well put. We have nothing to lose, so better speak your heart, rather than just not speaking. I think a very important takeaway from here as part of network, which I also strongly believe, it is an implicit transparency tool. The moment you are part of network, you are bound to be held more accountable by the society, by the peer group. And that is where it is also a strength, and it also poses a challenge for people to join network. Let me tell you that. So I think it's an important lesson for everybody to learn. Apart from that, win-win situation for both network and individuals to really collaborate in this endeavor. So let's hear Priyanka and Hamnah quickly over the role of network in your understanding, and where do you think it takes you there from here?
Personally, it motivates me when I hear all these girls. I could relate to their stories, how they came into the water sector. Exchanging these experiences, lessons, and expertise makes me more engaging in this field of water sector. So I would just conclude it by saying that personally, it's inspiring for me.
So this is a clear sisterhood concept, by the way. So at least we are able to share our worries and wisdom, and that keeps us going as well.
And also the knowledge, that they have.
Knowledge exchange, and a very, even a small pat on each other's back can keep you going for days. That I'm there for you. This line itself is good enough.
you need the motivation. So you
Of
need
course, you
like-minded
need the
people.
motivation, and that little pat on the back is certainly going to take you long, long way. And I say
Yeah,
it very often. It's
true.
not about getting appraisal or getting a lot of trophies, but it's just that keep going, girl. That itself is, a
Yeah,
very consoling line. You're
true.
doing good. Just keep doing what you are doing, and that can also really bring the highlight of a platform of holding each other together, holding accountable, but also holding each other together to stay in the profession. Because sometimes it is quite depressing, sometimes it is quite demotivating when you see one's own work. But then when you hear others, you know that we are all in the same sinking boat and we have to really work and keep it afloat. So, Hamna, briefly, your understanding of network platforms and councils. I'm putting all these words together. It's basically a set of individuals coming together with some collective agreement and arrangement. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I will agree with everything that Sayeda and Priyanka and Meghna and you also, Mansi, have said up till now. As Meghna mentioned before, we were at the World Water Week last year, and it was so frustrating too for us because as South Asian, it's not that we don't have the representation, it's not that we don't have the right amount of talent, we don't have the right amount of expertise, it's not that we don't have the people in South Asia. It's just that those people are not getting, the right representation, the right room, the right voice. They're not getting what they duly like, what they deserve. So that was a bit very frustrating for us. So that's how we came up with South Asia Young Women in Water also, because we wanted to change that. We wanted to change the landscape of of this frustration. We wanted to put this frustration to use, basically, like use our rage, our women rage and our emotion to and put it to use and do something creative with it, do something that can not just benefit ourselves but a whole region. Because what really saddens me the most, and what really also kind of gives me aggression kind of, is that
Very good. Aggression is important part of leadership. None of you really raised
exactly,
that character.
exactly, it's the fact that our region, we are more similar than we are different. It's
Yes.
when you look at European Union, it's like a bunch of countries coming together, and every border they share different language, different culture, different everything. But South Asia is a region where we speak the same language, we have the same values, we have the same emotion, we have the same heritage, basically. So we are more similar than we are different, and still we are so divided by so many different things that we don't get along, we don't get we don't support each other. And if only we just came together, we would be a force of power, we would be a force of reckoning, I would say. So I just want this region to come together and break the shackles of it's up to us to do it, because the world wouldn't give you what is yours until you take it. So we have to do it ourselves. And so another thing that really gives me anger is that so for me personally, why did I come to Paris? It was because what I wanted to study was not, and it still does not exist in Pakistan. The field of study that I want to pursue, the field of work that I want as a career, it is not there. And what I feel very privileged to have have the power to come here and study it. And what really saddens me is that a lot of my colleagues, a lot of my friends, a lot of the people, girls, boys alike in Pakistan, they don't have the same privilege. We don't share the same resources. Yes. We don't. A lot many people don't have the resources to come abroad and spend all of this money, spend all of these resources to just do what you like to do. So a lot of people just go for different things in what is available in the country. So that also saddens me a lot and gives me courage and gives me power and motivation to pursue this further, because I want there to be something for my country people and my countrymen and women to have this kind of privilege in their own country. They don't have to waste all of this money and go outside of their comfort or their region to do what they like to do, what they want to do. So there needs to be this gap needs to be targeted, and in terms of training, in terms of education. So more and more, you know, we need more platforms, and we need more education centers and training centers to, you know, for capacity building purposes, and, you know, for knowledge to transcend borders. And with India, I see, like, when we talk with Meghna, when we talk with Priyanka, I see that there is a lot of you know, stuff happening in India. And if only India could share that, like, if only there was a way for India to share it with Pakistan. Like, we are only talking about the sharing of knowledge, and if we just came together, there would still be a lot, you know. And we have a few colleagues from Bangladesh also, and I see, like, there was Monday speaking last Monday. So yeah,
Yes.
if Bangladesh, India, we could share it amongst Pakistan, and, you know, with Sayeda and Afghanistan, it would be so good. We would be, as I said, a force of reckoning. So this is very much needed, and what I expect SAYWiW to, you know, bridge the gap a little bit with this platform, but also what I expect from organizations and platforms and associations and councils to do for us, or yeah, what I want to do in the future. So
yeah. So you know, platforms are good in two ways: as long as you utilize it, and as long as you contribute to platforms. So it's a two-way process. And let me also at this moment invite all of you to join the Early Career Network of the International Association of the Study of Commons, which was started by Nobel laureate Elinor Ostrom. And I'm pleased to share with you that I currently hold the Asia region coordinator position. So I am also always looking for young people to join. It's a Commons network where Water Commons is one of the networks. Please join the ECN. We call it ECN network, which is Early Career Network, for, you know, looking for all kinds of opportunities. But it's also a very fat populated network within the International Association of the Study of Commons. So one thing is that you run your own network, but it is also important to be friendly and, you know, joining other networks. That's extremely important. So here is an open invitation to all of you. Please do join. The fees is really not big if you look at their fee component. But it is very rewarding. I have been part of it since 2009, and I'm not in the early career now anymore. But I lead the Asia region network, and I think there is a huge opportunity to collaborate with more scholars, because when you talk about water, it's not only water per se. You can talk about water and irrigation, water agriculture, water energy, water food, and all these are commons: water knowledge and water infrastructure. So you can meet up with more people. They have wonderful activities going on. So you can also get mentored for how to take your network further. So that's also a process which you can engage with. So I'm very delighted to really have you there. So if you are interested, do let me know. And it's a very simple website also to go and join yourself. So that brings me to the last round of question, and we have to be really, really crisp and short. I am very delighted to have you all, but also we have to respect each other's time. And so my question will be very simple. So what it is to be in the water sector. So this is like a pitching for more younger people to join the water sector. Again, not specific to women, because we need more water workers, you know, we need more people to work on water. So you can tell how it has been in your career, opportunities and challenges, so that people know that it is okay or good to join water sector. That's one part of it. And what the younger generation should do in their work conduct to engender the water sector, means how can we have naturally a situation when it is an equitable or a situation of equality in the water sector. I know it's not going to be there very soon. And I am also aware that when we talk about more and more women, there is sense of, you know, alarm, which is sent to me many a times that, oh, but what about the men? And I keep saying that I would like to live a day in my life when we don't have to talk about gender. Here is a water, problem, and here are the human beings who are the problem creators, because other beings are not creating problem, and it is also the human beings who have to solve the problem. But to reach that equitable equality stage, we have to walk that extra mile as women. So there are women professionals, but the work environment does not support. So how to engender? So my two simple questions based on your experience of opportunities and challenges. Please invite your fellow young generation in the water sector, and also tell them, give them some gyan or some tips how to engender the sector. I just put it in a different way so that everybody understands. We start with you, Hamnah, but with a request that please be precise. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I would just say that, yes, I completely agree with what you said. I would really love to have a day where we wouldn't put everything in genders, you know, we just talk about humans and human themselves creating the problem that we are facing as a species, and not just men and women. So yeah, I would really like that. But for as my experience and a message for the youth, I would say that for the youth, I would say, please come to stay, because with water sector, what we see is that we do see people being interested in it, but like after a while, they tended to leave, because you know there is a very too much gap when we see water sector and when we see energy sector. We see that there is a very huge gap in terms of, you know, I don't know, finances, and in terms of, you know, finance is actually the number one reason that drives youngsters, you know, because when you're getting started in your career, it plays a crucial role. So I know that it is tough because I am in the sector myself, so I know the nitty-gritties and the problem that we face. So I know that it is tough, but I would really like for you to just come and stay, no matter how much underpaid it is, and but because every bit of your effort, it matters. So when you come and you stay and you do your part of the work, you put in the effort, you put in the time, it matters. So maybe not, if not us, maybe the next people who would come would benefit from what we did today. So that
Very
is
well
what I
put.
want to say briefly.
Okay. So we go to Meghna.
Honestly, I'm not sure how to match up to Hamna's response, because yes, economic factors do play a major role in taking decisions, and a lot of people I have studied water with, they have now moved on to other sectors, and it's really a personal decision. But I would still say that you know, we need people from not so privileged sector of society to stay in the water sector, so that tomorrow when you become leader, you are more empathetic towards the needs of people. Like I always put up this example. I always wanted to work in Delhi, but the pay was so less for me that it was not possible for me to, you know, rent a place and work there. So obviously a lot of people who continued working in water sector and now are in big positions started in Delhi, stayed in Delhi because their parents could afford so, and or maybe they were residents of Delhi. And I understand that gap, but I think that is the reason actually why I started this network, because this gap needs to be addressed, because water is the future resource. And when we talk about ability to pay for water, those who have the ability to pay for water will continue paying for water, and they will not think twice before wasting water. It's basically the people, you know, the lower middle class and middle class people like I, who do not belong to fancy metro cities. It's us who understand how water should be regulated, how water should be valued, and it's important that we stay in this sector. But again, like I said, that money is a big constraint. So I have been fortunate to have like decently paying jobs, but again, I'm currently, very honestly, I'm in no position to tell that to anybody else that oh, you please stay with a very minimal amount of, because that does not make sense. You have to sustain yourself before you do any charity. So and of course, I would like to take this opportunity once again, Mansi ma'am, that I would like to invite all the esteemed leaders who are currently here, who have joined us today, or maybe who would be watching this video later, to think about it, think that how a young person who has already invested a lot in their education, how are they going to sustain with literally the peanuts that you are paying, and especially organizations like the United Nations that offer internships without pay. I mean, what kind of quality candidates are you actually inviting to work in this sector? I mean, think about it. And literally, like places like United Nations, they are setting the standard in the industry, and it's very unfortunate that they are literally asking for free labor. And it's high time it's addressed. And yeah, if I keep answering this question, my agitation will keep going on and on. So I think I'm going to stop here. But even if you are not in the water sector and you have some knowledge, join our networks. There are a lot of networks like us, and we can always use your expertise and use your rage to raise poignant points and important questions. That is very important. So
we are going to talk about this. Thank you so much, Meghna. We are going to talk about this issue in a more detailed manner. Where is the money in the water sector? Probably that's a good discussion to have in the Wednesdays for water session, because there we have serious discussion on these issues. So Priyanka, over to you. Your message to the younger generation.
My message to the younger generation. So I also feel there is a need to engage and empower. I will talk about women, engage and empower women's participation. And of course, water sector is a technical field also. So getting skills like operation, maintenance, and management of technologies. And fortunately, there is also work like research and development. So for youth, I would say access to education, information, skill development, capacity building, and likewise livelihood opportunities. So I would just suggest getting trained in soft skills and hard skills both.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sayeda, your message to the younger generation, why it is important to be in the water sector?
It's important to be actually very important to be in water sector, as water, constitutes everything in our daily life, including agriculture, even our daily activities or whatever we do. So whatever we eat or we need water. So for young people, it's important to be in the water sector, especially for young female and young girls and younger generation, including men, but especially women, to be in this sector. We don't have any big income, but the work that we do is very big, and it is a very valuable work that we don't do it for ourselves. We do it for humanity, and even we do it for the ecosystem. So it's so much important to to pay attention to the value that we are working for, than what we are receiving in return. And I have a message for the elder generation as well. It is somehow, it was not asked, but it is that the leaders and the elder generation have the capacity to pay the younger generation, and they have the capacity to support them. I believe that it's not like we don't have money. It's about how money is managed. So when they support the younger generation, they can sustain, and they can be positive about the future. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sayeda. Thanks a lot, all the girls here who have really brought the conversation so alive, and also spoken your heart along with your head. And I'm sure you are really very, very enthusiastic to go out there and bring us tremendous change in the water sector. Importantly, increase the participation of girls young women, as you call them, and the major learning, I quote from Sayeda here, being heard. And I think another important part is get educated yourself in the water sector. And no one in this world now can deny the fact that there is water crisis and it's looming all over us. It's not that only women are going to face it. Yes, we do face it more, but rightly put, that women also can offer alternate solutions to the rising crisis. And most of the disasters and crises are man-made crises. It's only one situation where I love to use the word man-made disasters and man-made crisis, because it is rarely women-made disasters and crises. So, but we have to face it with the more feministic values. That's more important, and it's not about being man or woman. We hope to live that day where we don't have to talk gender, but until then, we do have to talk about women. And sometimes we also have to really take those brave steps to talk about what men are doing, and also hear their point out how they think the world can be a better place in terms of tackling water crisis. So the discussion can go on and on, but we have to respect time. And with this, I definitely wish to thank Hamnah Fayyaz, Priyanka Kuhar, Meghna Chakravarti, and Sayeda Rahimi for the enlightening interaction. I really felt the conversation flowing like water, and I do hope you felt the same and enjoyed this conversation. And for me, it's all these conversations are really bringing all of you closer to me, because I feel the water that flows in me also flows in all of you, is flowing across these water bodies, as rightly mentioned in this session, that we have water, culture, and knowledge to flow across the region. May you all girls remain an inspiration to the future generation and also to the older generation like me. We are grateful to have learned about your water endeavors. May you continue your water activities, and of course do keep us posted so that we can also talk about your water endeavors at other platforms, as rightly pointed out in this platform again, that seniors have to also do that apart from their own work. And at Monday Munching with Women for Water, we have taken it very seriously to talk about the endeavors of women in the water sector, to make sure that they are heard, apart from what they are working on, apart from what their challenges and opportunities they have, but importantly, what they think about the sector, what they think about the work, what they think about the challenges. So we shall continue with Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water every Monday at 5 p.m. IST, because now we have international fraternity, so I must use the word Indian Standard Time. And we do look forward to learning more and more from more women from the water sector. You may please follow our social media platforms for regular updates. And for now, thank you so much, all of you girls, and please take care of yourself. I also wish to thank all the participants who are here, and there are some participants also in the YouTube. Do take care of yourself and keep yourself wet. You are a little house plant that needs water every day. So do not reduce that water, but there are many ways we can conserve water. Thank you so much, all of you. Please take care.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.